Hey guys, it's Jordan here from Switch Watch. How are you all doing today? Today I've got a review of Runner 3 on the Nintendo Switch. Thanks to Choice Provisions for providing this review copy, so I can tell you if it's worth your hard-earned cash or not. Today's question of the day is, what is your favourite rhythm game of all time? Let us know in the comments below. Let's get on with it. Commander Video has such a varied history and a plethora of genres that it starred in. Originating from bite-sized WiiWare games, the theme of rhythm has always been strong with this retro-infused mascot. The Runner series has always been a strong fan favourite and arguably the most breakaway series that he's been in. With a star showing on the Wii U with Runner 2, rhythm fans were delighted at the series' return for the Nintendo Switch. How does this one stack up? With an introductory story presentation, you'll quickly realise that any notion of a story is purposely thrown under the bus with a nonsensical introduction. It's the perfect opening for what is to come, as the whole game has a wonderful, random, wacky feeling to it. The idea of a story is mocked profusely here and is rather lovely in how it presents it. The audio is a huge part of a rhythm game. It's the whole backbone of the game for which the release can live or die. Thankfully, Runner 3 thrives in this department. Tunes and moods are all over the place and it succeeds in just about all of them. Matthew Harwood has done a fantastic job in creating a great soundtrack to this game, which is so vitally important. For the most part, it's very whimsical and I love how it builds up over the course of a stage when you collect the stereos, until by the climax, it's truly awesome. I do wish there were more of them though. Tracks are reused quite a lot and that's a shame, but also a reality of the game's budget and indie origins. There is enough variety and catchiness to the ones here to more than make up for that though. Another plus is Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario. He narrates this game. Sadly, he doesn't have much of a role aside from the intro, ending and announcing the stage name, but what he does say is excellently delivered. Visually, Runner 3 has taken a step up compared to what came before. Aesthetics are simple but very pleasing on the eye. It has tons of personality which I greatly appreciate. Comical, exaggerated animations are what sets this game above others of the genre. It may be on par with what a PlayStation 2 was capable of with models and textures, but it's the art style and personality that really makes up for it. All of the random things flying around in the background can be a joy to behold, just because of how weird everything is. I really love the direction too. I know this is probably part of the gameplay, but I just love how the camera pans around in 3D, showing you more a dynamic experience than if it was just a straight 2D plane. It adds that bit of extra production value which we can all appreciate. Performance wise, it's almost perfect. Nothing ever really interfered with gameplay, but I did notice a few dropped frames here and there which were a little distracting, but nothing major. Obviously it should be perfect, so it's a shame that it isn't, but it's not something that you should become too worried about. The gameplay starts off very simple. As an auto runner, the only thing you begin with is a jump. Depending on how long you hold down the button, that will decide how long you stay airborne. You need to manage your jumping lengths very well for each situation, and it's not uncommon to have to constantly switch between the two in immediate succession. As you make your way through the first levels, you'll be gradually introduced to new gameplay mechanics such as the slide, which enables you to squeeze under tight spaces. You'll be introduced to the double jump, trampolines, wall jumps, and the kick, which will destroy objects in your way. From what starts as a very simple running concept, quickly escalates into something quite a bit more complicated. As you run on the mostly linear paths, you'll be collecting gold bars, avoiding obstacles, and jumping over gaps. You'll quickly notice just how much rhythm there is in this game. The music plays a vital part in the whole feel of the game. Collecting gold will ping a sound perfectly in beat with the music, and jumps are often suspiciously perfect with certain beats too. It won't be long until you're bopping your head and feet, as well as slamming the buttons stylishly, as funky as possible with the music. This is what really makes the game, getting into a great flow of music while collecting as many, if not all, the gold bars in a stage. It feels so good doing it perfectly and smoothly in time with the music. One of the more interesting aspects of Runner 3 are the branching paths which inhabit each level. Choosing these different roads will provide a greater challenge, but also a greater reward. Instead of gold bars, you'll be rewarded with juicy gems. Its implementation is great as it allows more replay value, as you do need to complete the level at least once before having access to the gems. And they really are more difficult too, and I often found them to be far more fun as well. Sometimes you'll be asked to switch lanes even when it has nothing to do with the harder path. Sometimes you'll have to switch lanes to avoid hazards or roadblocks. I feel this mechanic is one of the more ropey aspects of the game. It just feels less smooth than it really should. Either a little delayed or just finicky as to when you're allowed to do it. Only a minor point as you're not doing it too often and you can easily get by. As you're sprinting through the levels, there are vehicle sections to enjoy. It very much reminds me of the minecart sections in DK games, but far more speedy and instantaneous. They are enjoyable because of their variety and spontaneity. They're dynamic thanks to the camera pans and shifting gameplay. Maybe it's my fault for coming off the back of Tropical Freeze, but I was so used to the heavy sluggishness of those vehicle sections that the twitch nature of this one really threw me off. Not the game's fault though. Interestingly, for an auto-runner rhythm game, Runner 3 has side quests of sorts. In some of the levels, one of the branching paths will lead you to something funky in need of help. They will require a set of certain items that will be found in other stages. For example, one particularly unfortunate couple needs some fermented fish for their wedding guests. Yes, it's as wacky and as nonsensical as the rest of the game. These will reward you with new characters, and they also give you nice incentive to play through levels multiple times to pick everything up. Runner 3 is a super difficult game, at least for me. It's the kind of auto-runner that demands absolute perfection just about. As much joy as this game brought to me, it also gave me a lot of frustration too. Levels are only a couple of minutes long, but one false move and it's game over. With only one checkpoint in each level and so many opportunities to fail, and if you're like me, fail you will. It's all about learning and memorizing the layout of each level, and while you can skillfully make your way through plenty of hazards and feel awesome about it, you'll definitely have to learn from your previous mistakes of misjudging a jump, not kicking a wall fast enough, or running into an enemy. There's a ton of trial and error here, plus a ton of skill too. I'm not sure all of you will be able to stick through it, and in my increasing age and ever diminishing reflexes, I often struggled. Even coming off the back of Donkey Kong, which I can actually handle fairly well, Runner 3 is more difficult. I'm not exaggerating when I say that stage 7 in World 2 took me over 40 tries. Be warned. Even more difficult than the standard levels are the retro stages, which are unlocked along the way if you've accumulated enough gold bars in the various levels. Fiendish isn't the word. Maybe unholy, sadistic. Either way, I was genuinely useless at these and could barely make it a few meters in each. Those who want a real challenge will love this. As another side thing, if you want to collect a VHS tape in a world, it unlocks the retro challenges. These are very different in the fact that they are far more like a normal platformer. You can actually control the direction you want Commander Video to go in and jump around at your own pace. These are very stylized, and in all honesty, that's all they've got going for them. They are probably the weakest part of the game and reminded me so much of Cast of the Seven Godsends, but not in a good way. I can see what they were going for, but it just doesn't work for me, just not polished enough. Thankfully, these are more of a side thing and can be ignored. I would say that Runner 3 has some very minor issues here and there as mentioned, but for me, the biggest disappointment is the low world count. There are 30 standard levels, plus a final boss, which I don't mind. It took me 4 solid hours to see the end credits, but I just wish the levels were divided into more worlds to give extra variety to the visuals. With only a food-based land, a Halloween-themed land, and a furnace-themed land, it's lacking in variety. While the level count is fine, I feel the world count should have been doubled. That really is a big shame because the art directors really have a lot of imagination that I would have loved to see more of. Runner 3 is not exactly a cheap game. Coming in at $25.49 or £23.79, it's a premium indie price for an eShop game. I think it's packed with enough content and features to say that the price is okay, if a little high. I'm sure that most will look at the game and scoff at the price, but when you play it and realize all the stuff that's here, it's actually not that bad. 4 hours for a standard playthrough, you could easily double that to get all of the gems and collectibles to unlock characters, plus who knows how many hours trying to master and 100% it. A couple of pounds or dollars cheaper wouldn't have hurt of course, and it's worth noting that a pre-purchase discount is available on the UK eShop with 15% off. Maybe worth a look for sure. Overall, Runner 3 represents a welcome return for Commander Video, especially in his best form. Runner 2 was one of the best rhythm games on the Wii U, and although there is much stiffer competition on the Switch, choice provisions have done it again. Providing a fun, personality-filled musical running experience, Runner 3 is a no-brainer for rhythm game fans. It's a pity there are only 3 worlds and the extreme difficulty will not be for everyone, but I really enjoyed it, even if I wanted to throw my controller out of the window a couple of times. 8 out of 10. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this review of Runner 3 on the Switch. If you're a regular Switch watcher, then don't forget to click that like button and leave a comment below answering the question of the day. What is your favourite rhythm game of all time? Personally, I love both the theatre rhythm games on the 3DS. If you're new here, then why not consider subscribing for more awesome Switch content far into the future. We aim to be the best on YouTube, and I hope we're getting there eventually. As always, head over to the website switchwatch.co.uk for news, reviews, and features. It's always worth a daily look. I've been Jordan from Switchwatch, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.